I'm Nicholas Ballasy here at the Republican Convention with the Benham Brothers. You both just spoke in front of the Family Research Council. Could you talk a little bit about why you decided to speak for that group and come to the convention?
Well, the Family Research Council was one of the groups that really came to our side, came to our aid whenever we got fired by HGTV, and that's probably how most people know my brother and I, which I guess is infamous if you want to call it that. But we had successful professional baseball players, then built businesses for about a decade, and then HGTV came along and wanted to do a reality show on us. And of course, big firestorm, we ended up getting fired because of our traditional religious beliefs, and those specifically were pro-life and pro-marriage between a man and a woman. That's not real popular nowadays. And so when that happened...
Actually, it is popular. It's just not popular with a very small remnant group
the media.
Of people.
Yeah. And so, when we got fired, the Family Research Council reached out to us and said, "You boys are standing for what we stand for. Come on, we're gonna bring you in and let you speak to some of our people." And I tell you what, it was like wind in our sails. The FRC's been really good to us.
Was there any issue in particular you think that was brought up on your social media accounts or anything that got the most negative attention in the eyes of HGTV?
Well, it wasn't in the eyes of HGTV, and that's part of our story that we write in our book, Whatever the Cost, is that HGTV was actually, they knew everything about us. They knew all about our pro-life stand. They knew all about our pro-marriage stand. In 2012, we voted for the marriage amendment in North Carolina. They knew all about these things. Nothing had changed from the time we signed with HGTV until we got fired. Nothing had changed with us. What had happened was this Saul Alinsky Rules for Radicals type of agenda attacked through GLAAD, Right Wing Watch, and all these various activist groups, and they wrote articles and blogs and tried to vilify us and create a brand new story about us. That's when HG was like, "Oh gosh, we're getting too much pressure, we gotta let you go."
So it's like the negative publicity that came out of...
Exactly.
Okay, so you have like the blogs, videos.
We're just, we write blogs and we do videos and stuff, very loving but traditional values-based items, and that's now been considered extremist, wacko, crazy ideas. But hey, it doesn't matter to us. We're going to stand strong regardless for these values, because these values bring freedom and peace.
Do you think your situation relates to Hollywood, for example, how you hear from people like Stacey Dash that there's a lot of conservatives in Hollywood, but they won't come out. They won't say anything.
Yeah.
And is it because of experiences like
Absolutely.
you had?
Yeah, it's exactly what we had, and there's that agenda, that mob, and we believe that it's a demonic spiritual agenda that seeks to silence men and women of faith, and that's what it does. And they try to scare you to death, like, hey, if you speak out against this, you're not going to get the leading role in this movie, or if you speak out against this, you're going to lose your job or your business or your reputation. We're going to ruin it, and then people get scared, and so then they get silent. So what we're saying is, having gone through this ourselves, and we know the fear, what we're saying is that boldness precedes the miraculous. Look, there's no such thing as courage if fear doesn't first present itself. You can't have courage without fear. So fear comes in, and when you feel it coming over you, we're telling Christians, look, at that moment, take your focus off of the problem, off of the issue, and put your focus on God himself, and be courageous, and then watch what happens.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the religious freedom issue, because Mike Pence is now vice president. He got a lot of heat for the religious freedom law in Indiana. Do you think the Trump campaign, Trump and Pence, should focus on social issues in this election, or do you think they should, because of experiences like you had, stay away from them?
Well, no, of course they shouldn't stay away from them. That's one of the reasons why we're in the situation we're in. But the social issue specifically of religious liberty is vital to American prosperity. I mean, that's our first freedom. So, Governor Pence, he caved in Indiana. Governor Deal caved in Georgia on these religious freedom protections. And the reason they caved was not because these guys didn't want these bills, because they both wanted them. The reason they caved was because of this mob mentality, this very small minority of people that absolutely bully you into silence. And so what we're saying is, hey, governors, hey, Donald Trump, whoever it is that's in leadership, stand strong. Don't be politically correct. Don't be afraid of these folks. Just stand strong.
Are you satisfied with what you've heard from Trump so far on social issues?
He doesn't speak with authority on social issues. I wish he would, but you know what? And everybody's saying this. He's surrounding himself with people who do. And so long as he can listen and let them do their thing, just like he's built his company. I mean, you don't, we've built lots of companies, and we know that you put the right people in the right place and let them do their thing and don't hold them back, your company's going to grow. If we want to make America great again, it's Donald Trump can't do it. No one man can do it. Only God can do it. And so if he surrounds himself with godly people and let them do their thing, we'll see some positive change.
The evangelical community has given him a lot of support so far. Do you think that will continue through the general election and help or hurt him?
We really don't know, but I do know this, that the platform strengthening and moving closer toward a values-based platform and not further away from it. Unfortunately, the Democratic Party has moved further away from a values-based platform, but the Republican platform is moving closer. And with Trump surrounding himself with some good faith-based leaders, we're hoping, a lot of people in the evangelical community are hoping that he can become presidential, that he could actually value humility and value character and these other things. So, I really don't know. I'm not a political pundit, but just from a Christian standpoint and from an entrepreneurial standpoint, I think that if you put the right people in place and you're humble enough to admit that we need God again in this country, then a lot of good things can happen.
Thank you so much.
All right, man.